I feel like Mills Teacher Scholars is a one-of-a-kind opportunity for teachers, just the chance to reflect with like-minded teacher scholars. But also, instead of learning a curriculum or learning teaching methodology, like how to teach reading, you're learning how to learn continuously throughout your career.
It really does feel like we're treated as professionals, and it's very much guided by what we're seeing in our own classrooms and questions around practice that we have ourselves, and it's not a top-down approach.
What came up for me was like that risk-taking piece, because that's really up for me in my inquiry, is like, how do I get my kids to be risk-takers with their reading? And how do I model that?
One of the primary goals of the Mills Teacher Scholars work is to create a thinking space for teachers so that they can really make sense of what's happening in their classroom practice. And I mean, the irony is that so often in education we don't apply what we know and understand about learning to adult learning. We know that a really important aspect of learning and development is a messy sense-making process. Yet adults who are teaching our students rarely get to engage in that kind of sense-making process. And so that process is the heart of the inquiry work, where teachers bring student learning data to their colleagues, and they work together to try to really understand what's happening. And we call this the thinking space. And we have a protocol that we actively and intentionally teach teachers how to engage in, and also explain the rationale behind the protocol so that they can adjust it to ways that would make it more useful for them.
I was wondering if, related to his kind of aversion to reading books he doesn't know, is if he is relying on certain strategies more than others. Like it seemed like he wasn't thinking about using the picture right away, which are things that you've probably taught him before.
Yeah, he named the picture strategy, but he didn't use it.
He didn't use it. Yeah, so he named the what is it? Stretch a snake. Yeah. And then he was able to do it once he was kind of guided through it, and he was able to use the strategies once he was guided through it.
The Mills Teacher Scholars Program basically has a fundamental stance that teaching is uncertain work, and that when we come into the classroom, we come asking a lot of questions. We come with an inquiry stance that says, how are students receiving the lessons that I'm teaching, and how do I need to modify? And I think what that does for me is it always has me in a place where I'm asking myself, how are students interacting with the lesson that I'm presenting? What are they getting from it? And it forces me to ask students reflecting questions. Like, what are the character ideas that you have based on this lesson that we did? Or what was the greatest thing that you learned in school this year?
It is problem solving. It is critical thinking. It shifts with what is your priority. It also shifts like with the students I have, because a lot of times with professional development, it's this sort of set curriculum, and you don't really look at who your kids are. You just assume that this is how they're going to learn.
We partner with schools and districts to really help them provide a meaningful learning space for their teachers.
What conditions support adult learning? Because we hope that eventually you'll be leading some of this type of work with your colleagues at your school sites. I know some of you are new teachers, and you're probably not ready for that yet. You might be, but we're trying to help you also just kind of step back and think, what supports my learning?
How do I integrate SEL from day one? How can I be intentional about it? And then just getting my kids to be at a place where I don't have to point out self-management, and I don't have to point out self-awareness. Like, they understand what it looks like, they understand what it sounds like, they understand what it feels like, and we can move forward.